Oh my gosh, I'm so freaking bad at this game. What's up, gamers? Dreamcastguy here, and today I want to try and do something a little bit different, just purely for fun, which is that I want to tell you about a couple games that right now I am totally addicted to. Now, some of these games aren't exactly new, some of them are even kind of old, but they're things from this generation that in 2020 I can't seem to put down. Now, we do have some big games coming up. In this year, we're getting things like Doom Eternal and, of course, Animal Crossing New Horizons. But until those come out, I've kind of just been going through my backlog and experiencing some of the best games and playing them again and again and again. So today, let's take a look at a couple that, well, I just love the most. To start with, we have to talk about the Resident Evil 2 remake. Now, RE3 is coming out very, very soon, and I kind of just decided to play through it again, and my original idea was I'd beat it once and I'd move on, but I can't. I mean, I just keep playing this game trying to do things like speedrun it, get every single collectible, find all the hidden items, and of course, beating it on the hardest difficulty. The reason I got so addicted to this game, though, is that I feel like it does world building in a very, very strong sense. While you're wandering around in Raccoon City or you're just trying to solve puzzles in the police station, you can't help but just stop and admire all the tiny things like scratches on the floor or broken barricades. There's so much storytelling that is non-verbal that I kind of found myself just stopping and glancing around a lot and enjoying myself. At this point, I am so good at the game that I can headshot every zombie a million times, so it's not like anything here is even a threat. And so instead, I'm kind of just taking it slow and admiring this game for what it is, which is a gory piece of art. Which brings me to the next game, which is also artistic, but in a very different way, which is, of course, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. This came out about a month ago, and it's one of those games that people have kind of loved and kind of hated on. Let's just face facts, this is telling the standard Dragon Ball Z story for like a millionth time. But I like the fact that I can do side quests and collectibles and just kind of hang out with all the Dragon Ball Z characters. Recently, I've been watching the Dragon Ball Super anime, so maybe the reason I'm just so hooked on this game is that I like being able to put on the gi of Goku and punch people in the face. It's one of those games that I feel like I can just put time into because it is easy. It's not super challenging and it gives me a nice chance to just kind of fly around and be goofy. Now, I do want to talk about one. There's a game that got a lot of hate long ago, and I feel like it's a little bit undeserved, which is Doom 3. I am a huge fan of Doom 3. Like, no joke, I actually own the Collector's Edition, the DLC version. I own this on Xbox 360, I own it on PC. I love Doom 3. But recently, now that it's on Nintendo Switch, and I have, like, my Switch Mini, I've been really hooked on just playing it here because I think it's nice to play a compact version of this game. Doom 3 is nice and it's like really cool to just run around and shoot stuff, but I really just like the fact that Doom 3 has so many demons in it. It's a run and gun shooter that kind of goes a little bit more differently paced. It really kind of tries to have jump scares, it tries to spook you. Even on the tinier screen, I could really appreciate all the madness and hell-like design. I also really like trying to find all the audio logs and stuff, because with a good set of headphones, you can appreciate the fact that these voice actors are really pouring their hearts into us. Doom 3 has always been a fun game, but now playing it in 2020 and hyping myself up for the next Doom, I am definitely ready for it. Now, a game that's a little bit older, this game's like 4 years old at this point, that I'm still just super randomly addicted to, Horizon Zero Dawn. No, I don't know why I'm getting back into Horizon Zero Dawn in freaking 2020, but here I am. Horizon is so great. I feel like it's one of those games that first kind of displayed the power of open world gaming on the PlayStation 4. Getting to explore this interesting mix of a primitive world with hyper technology, having people with bows and arrows and a tribal species going against robotic dinosaurs is so freaking keen. I really like that I'm going back to this game because I really like all the cool stuff like the nice collectibles. I like trying to upgrade my armor, but more than that, I kind of just love the combat. I love trying to pick out a target, targeting its weak points and dismantling it literally piece by piece, and then collecting all the goodies. Horizon Zero Dawn is one of those games that I feel like people are going to be going back to in a while and saying that was the first game that seems like it was perfectly made for the PlayStation 4. It was the first game that definitely utilized every single part, every single core, every single graphical morsel. There's always those interesting projects that are like the first hardware pushers, and Horizon Zero Dawn is definitely that. Now, a game that did come out a while ago that I'm really hooked on, even though I'm awful at it, let me just admit right up front, I suck at the game I'm about to talk about. I'm probably one of the worst players ever, but I feel like that's part of the reason I cannot stop playing it. Enter the Gungeon. Now, this is playable co-op. I have been playing it solo, though. This game, something about roguelites. I have just finally had these connected, or maybe, what do they call them? I think they're called roguelites. These games are so incredibly indulgent. Essentially, the way it works is every time you turn this game on, the levels randomize. The boss order, the weapons you find, the special items you can get, everything is totally randomized. Even the individual room setup or the enemies you're going to be fighting, all of it is so randomized. And to me, this is so deeply immersive in a way. It's so nice to go in a game where I feel completely put off guard. It's a game where you can't just memorize where stuff's at. You can't just try and remember where each little cool key is. Instead, you have to be a good player. And I like that, especially as a bad player. It's so really cool to try and just get in there and get that one level deeper. Or you finally beat it on one difficulty and you're going to try and make it even harder. Or when you're stuck on a boss and you have one of your friends come over to your house and you play a co-op and you get a chance to finally conquer it. There is something that's so satisfying about Enter the Gungeon, and honestly, this is probably the game that I've been having the most fun with in 2020, even though I am just flat out garbage at it. It's one of those titles where I can kind of respect it, even if it is just beating my face into the pavement. Now, I want to talk about a game that is definitely a lot more peaceful, and one that I think is much more futuristic, which is Dreams. Now, I released my video of this like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago at this point. Dreams, though, has really been blowing up. A lot of people are starting to see the unlimited potential of it. This is a game crafting game, where by going into it, you're able to make whatever you can imagine. But what's kind of cool is that the community has really kind of expanded. At the start, there was a lot of stuff that was kind of just goofy, silly remakes or trying to just make things that already existed like PT Demo, but people are starting to make their own custom games inside of Dreams, and they're great. I mean, that's the weirdest thing. So I guess the only analogy I can make is Dreams feels like the future of social media. This is a way of people to game while sharing it with others. You're experiencing what people are truly thinking. You're seeing people's memes in 3D. You're seeing movies that people make. You're listening to songs that people have written inside of this video game. But additionally, it just has really fun stuff like mini golf or SimCity. I like Dreams a lot, but more than that, I can kind of just see the infinite potential of it. I feel like Dreams is one of those things that's going to just keep getting bigger and better and more impressive. And now, it's one of those games that I keep finding myself just going back to and logging in even for like 5 minutes. It feels like I'm missing out if I'm not logged into Dreams because I want to see what people are posting, what's coming next, what the community is coming together to try and come up with. Okay, so the last game we're going to be talking about today is something that's written to be very dark and serious, but despite that, is definitely one of the funniest things I have played in the last couple years, which is Yakuza Kiwami 2. Even if you've never played any other Yakuza game, you should absolutely check this game out because it is just so funny. You can go from trying to track down killers or fighting rival gang members to having a weird time where you suddenly end up in like a creepy dungeon parlor and there's a bunch of dudes in diapers trying to beat you in the face. This game is so funny, and my favorite thing about this, and the reason I've been playing it so much in 2020, is the side content. There are digital arcades inside this, allow you to actually go around and sit down at arcade cabinets, or play darts, or even just do things like just chill out in the town itself. It is a huge digital representation of Japan, and I mean, I don't really talk about this, but my biggest dream is to someday go and visit Japan. So I kind of like being able to hang out in this game for hours and hours and hours, talking to the locals, helping people out, doing things to try and advance the story. story and kind of just being inside of this universe. I like this game, but really I kind of like all these games. It has been a fun year so far. Now, we haven't gotten a giant release, but stuff is coming up. And really my advice to you is if you find yourself getting bored, just check out your backlog. There is a ton of stuff to play if only you're willing to play it. Check stuff out. Go and look at all the sales. Right now, we're having a bunch of like early year sales, spring sales that are just blowing up the charts. There's a lot of cheap games out there that you could play for hundreds and hundreds of hours. Next time you're about to say something mean to somebody on the internet, instead, just go play an epic game. Okay, well, this has just been my random off-the-cuff thoughts of some of the games I've been playing this year that I have been having a blast with. What have you been playing? Tell me what you're actually addicted to in 2020, even if it's something from like the original Nintendo. Tell me what you're into in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh man, I really wish I was better at Enter the Gungeon because it is a flawlessly made game and I am just a trash can at it. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.